Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Foreign Master, and welcome back to another overly sarcastic productions reaction. Fables and Folktales, the boy who found fear at last. Well, I don't really, I've never heard of this one before. Is this supposed to be like some sort of derivative or precursor to the boy who cried wolf? Because that's the only other one I can think of with the word boy specifically in the title. But the thing is, if I go to the description, all it says is a bite-sized little folk tale about a little man on a big adventure. Okay. To say that I'm intrigued would be a massive understatement. So let's actually get into this. So as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will be leading you to my newest Let's Play video. And with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
The world of folk and fairy tales is a mysterious and alluring place.
Yes,
Dragons
very.
and ogres abound, witches lurk in the woods, every third-born child has a magical adventure in store for them, and there are kingdoms aplenty, lush with imperiled princesses and extremely generous land ownership policies. Sure, you might end up cursed to spit frogs or eaten by a wolf, but all things considered, it's a very tempting environment for exploration. Tempting and terrifying in equal measure, like all the best fantasy tends to be. Today's folktale is apparently Turkish in origin, documented in English in Andrew Lang's Olive Fairy book based on a German version from the Turkische Volksmärchen, or Turkish folktales. It's a lot of fun for a lot of reasons, and honestly, it's a shame it's not better known. I didn't think I had a favorite fairy tale before today, but this has absolutely taken my top spot. So today, let's talk about the boy who found fear at last. The story begins in a lonely cottage by a dark forest where a woman lives a sheltered existence with her only son, which is primo folktale scene setting right there.
Yeah, very much is, yes.
In and slams the door open, frightening the woman and confusing her son, who has apparently led such a sheltered existence that he has no concept of what fear means. His mother tries and fails to explain the concept of directionless existential dread, so the boy decides to take matters into his own hands and
it is fear. Yeah, that's dumb.
find fear himself, leaving at the crack of dawn for his adventure without even saying goodbye, and probably giving his mother a whole host of other fear-related issues for the foreseeable future.
Oh no.
She's not in this story anymore. So the boy heads out into the world to find fear. He spots a promising-looking mountain and makes his way up it, finding a bandit camp posted up at the summit. And because he's chilly, he marches up to the fire and squeezes in between a couple bandits to warm
What are you guys talking about?
Baffles and amuses the bandit leader, and when the boy explains that he's trying to learn what fear is, and fails to respond to the bandit's intimidating boasting, the bandits suggest he take some of their supplies and bake a nice cake for them in the nearest graveyard.
No, boss, you're still totally terrifying. Oh, of course. Oh, being unable to scare a child. I mean, granted, that's not a normal child. He's the only one with colored hair.
He trots merrily off to do just that, and as the cake gets all nice and golden brown, a hand erupts from the grave soil and a ghostly voice asks if the food is for them. He explains that that would be a waste of good food, whacks the hand with his spoon, takes the cake, and leaves.
Okay, is this kid like a superhero or something? That's awesome.
The bandits are torn between being baffled and impressed, and they suggest another place the young man could try to find fear. A deep, dark pool on the other side of the mountain. He skedaddles on over and finds the pool, along with a swing set with a crying child in it, suspended over the water. As he takes in this odd situation, a young woman appears and begs him for his help. She just can't reach her little brother on the swing, so she needs a boost. The boy is happy to oblige her, but when she climbs up, instead of grabbing the kid, she pushes down hard, nearly tipping the boy into the water. This is far from kosher, so the boy yeets her off him. She goes flying, losing a bracelet in the process, which he thinks is pretty nifty, and snags. When he looks up, both the girl and the kid have mysteriously disappeared.
Oh, okay, sure, they were ghosts. Great.
Which is pretty spooky, but not enough to make him feel fear. Not when he has this great new bracelet to entertain him.
Cool.
He heads down the mountain looking for a place to get a snack and finds a small town tucked into the foothills. As he passes through, a townsperson claims his snazzy new bracelet actually belongs to him, and the boy suggests they take their dispute before a judge, who hears their stories and decides neither of them can prove ownership, and says until someone can present another bracelet that matches this one to prove it's really theirs, he'll be keeping it. The terrors of a convoluted legal system are insufficient to teach the boy fear, so he meanders down to the beach and spots a ship in the process of sinking.
I swear, this kid, it's just like, are we sure he's not just a literal sociopath, just unable to feel anything?
The terrified sailors are a promising lead for the boy, so he swims out to them, has them throw him a rope, and swims down to see what's got the ship stuck. He finds that the boat is wedged on a rock, but it is also being dragged down by a mysterious waterwoman who has a chain lodged in the hull and is steadily pulling it down. The boy grabs her, yanks the chain free, and ties her to a rock. Then swims back to the surface as the sailors get the boat to shore. Emboldened by his easy conquest of yet another spooky ghost, the boy continues.
Is this existential dread? Oh, experiencing whimsy, of course.
His search for fear and wanders his way into a beautiful garden, where he sees 3 doves dive into a pool. The doves then emerge from the water, transformed into beautiful young women that look strangely familiar, and they set up a tea party and drink a toast. The first woman drinks to the fearless young man who rapped her knuckles with a spoon when she burst out of a grave at him. The second drinks to the fearless boy who threw her off by the pool, and the third drinks to the absolute weirdo who swam to the bottom of the ocean to fight her IRL. The boy in question pops out of the flower beds and demands they give him the match to his bracelet so he can get his own back, and the ladies happily lead him into a shining hall filled with treasures of all sorts, pick out the bracelet, and send him on his way. The boy marches back to the judge to retrieve the bracelet's match, and then continues on his quest. As the boy meanders...
Wait, so what were the 3 magical women? Were they like fairies? Were they... No, this would have been like from Turkey, so this would most likely be some sort of like Islamic thing. So they don't think they would be angels or demon genies? I don't know.
He finds the outer edges of a large crowd of people, all gathered around in apparent anticipation. He asks what's going on, and one of them explains that the king of this area has died with no heirs, but they're using a foolproof method to identify their next ruler. Every day, they release a single sacred pigeon, and if that pigeon lands on a person, that person is worthy of the throne. I don't know why anyone bothers with democratic elections when this is clearly the only objectively perfect mode of government.
I mean, it's as good as any other.
Anyway, sure enough, the sacred pigeon flaps its way down and lands squarely on the boy's head. The townsfolk are overwhelmed with joy at having a new ruler, but the boy feels a sudden surge of a strange emotion, a horrifying vision of his future, bound to a throne and to responsibility, forced to spend the rest of his life trying and failing to make the poor richer, the miserable happier, the bad better, never having the freedom to live his life according to his whims. He begins to panic, but the crowd thinks he's just shy and releases a few more pigeons just to be sure, and they pile on the one true king in an adorable heap of orbularity as he works through his very first panic attack and slowly accepts that the rest of his life will have fear as a constant and steady companion while he acclimates to fabulous wealth and power. How sad. I'm not.
Of course. Of course. Fear of responsibility. I swear that. Jeez, I wish I had heard that story before. That was a fun little one. I mean, where did she say it was from? It was like, it wasn't from Turkey or something? Turkey, yeah, so it is from like Turkish or the Ottomans or something, from the people of that area. It's just, I mean, that was a fun little story. And I love that, like, he went through all of these like harrowing events, met like supernatural, met with like potential murderers and all this stuff. And of course, it was its responsibility, of course, that started getting him actually like scared and terrified. I wonder more like how his mother would respond to all of this. Like, her son just leaves one day out of the blue, and then when he returns, he's king. Yeah, that was great. I loved that. So yeah. Of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will be linked to my Let's Play of the day. And with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.